What's up, everybody? So I am back with another recap of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It's for season 14, episode 11. It's called Mind Your Business. So I don't think I'm gonna have too much to say about this episode. It was very fillery to me. However, there are some main takeaways I do want to touch on. Overall, like I said, it seemed very filler. It was, it's okay. I'm ready for some more action. I appreciated the break from the fighting last episode, this episode. Not that I wanted fighting, but I was kind of like, okay. Like it was very kind of like humdrum, and I'm ready for some more oomph. So we shall see. If you like what you hear today, if you like some of my other videos, please start liking the videos, add your thoughts, your comments, and I just can't wait to connect with you guys. So let's dive in. So the episode opens with Sutton looking for her diamonds. Okay, we'll fast forward. Then we have Kyle coming back from a run, and she runs into Sutton's mom, and they talk a little bit. And it seems that Kyle has really taken a liking to Sutton's mom. I don't like that heifer, but I think Kyle grew up with what they call a tough parent. They threw that term around so much for Sutton's mother. Oh, she was tough. She was stern. She was strong. And I'm like, she was just mean. Can we just say what it is? She didn't make her daughter feel good. She's mean. But anyway, Kyle has seemed to really taken a liking to her. I think it's because of, based on what we have heard about Kyle and Kathy and Kim's mother, Big Kathy, Kyle is probably used to that energy, and it probably really makes her feel really familiar and maybe even weirdly safe. So Kyle was kind of here for Reba, but I'm not. The main thing that comes out of that conversation between Reba and Kyle is that Reba says that she grew up with a very strong father, and he was really tough, and she was actually his favorite. He poured a lot into her, taught her how to be really strong. And she admittedly says that she's not the nurturing type. And so that was a takeaway that Kyle took and went back to Sutton to talk about. So that came out of that. Then we see a clip of Avi kind of just trying to set up for their brunch that they're going to have. And this poor man is just running ragged. He has Sutton and Big Sutton to deal with, aka Reba, her mom, and he's just poor Avi. I see you, Avi, when he's just like, okay, like you could tell he's biting his tongue. You could tell, he's just really doing the dance to make sure he doesn't rock the boat too much. And Avi, I get it. I hope Sutton is paying you a lot, because it seems like you have to deal with a lot. So, and I'm really interested. I would love a tell-all. He probably signed an NDA, but I would love just like a tell-all from the different staff, because I'm sure they have seen and heard it all. You see Kyle, she goes back to Sutton, and they're getting ready for this brunch that's about to happen. And Kyle brings back that nugget back to Sutton, like, yeah, I had a great talk with your mom. She admits that she's not nurturing. And Sutton seemed surprised. She's like, wait, what? You got that out of her? She admitted that? And so they started talking about Sutton's past, and they dive into the relationship and the decline of her father. And so Sutton said over like a 6-year period, started in her mid-20s, and about 6 years from there was a noticeable decline of her father, and his, treatment plan included a lot of drugs, and he was really out of it a lot of times, and he just didn't seem right, and he was really depressed. He talked about taking his life, and he finally did it in December of 2002. And that was really the main focus of this episode, was Sutton really like revisiting, the time that she last saw her father alive in the house, and we'll get to that later. But I don't know. I think it was a therapeutic episode. It probably helped some other people with maybe if they're dealing with similar things. I will say, and I'm jumping ahead after when she goes to the house, she said something like, oh, it feels like I'm able to close a chapter, or somebody said it was like a sense of closure. And I was like, I thought we did that last season or the season before that when they went to Spain and she was letting go of Merce and she was like, this isn't just Merce, it's for my divorce and it's for my father and like all these important men in my life. I had to say goodbye to, and I'm closing that book. And I know grief is it's different for everyone. And obviously that's her father, so grieve as long as you want, but I don't necessarily want it to be like a recurring story on this show, even if it is something you're dealing with. I don't know. I'm not trying to sound mean or, heartless about it, but I'm like, I thought you said that already. I don't know. But hey, I will say this. As usual, Sutton's one of the few people that are actually working and bringing us stories. So it's like, okay, you're bringing us something unlike the OG. Sorry, Kyle. So we see Reba once again fussing over Avi and don't do this ice, do this, and don't do that, do this, and turn the grits off. And poor Avi, he's just like, all right, he's holding it in. He hasn't snapped on that old lady yet, so he's doing good. And then we see Garcelle comes down and she is very complimentary to Reba. I don't know. Maybe she sees something in her that we didn't see, but I would keep my distance from her. But for whatever reason, she's like, oh, how'd you sleep? You look so pretty. Da, da, da. Like, doing the most, not the most, but just, she's laying it on a little thick. She's being very polite, honestly. But like I said, I wouldn't even give her that. So anyway, so they actually have a minute alone. And then this is the conversation that we've seen in other previews where Garcelle sits down with Reba and she was basically like, I really care about your daughter, Sutton. She's so gracious. She would give the shirt off her back. And I've gotten to know her and had really intimate conversations with her. And it seems that she ultimately just wants to know that you're proud of her and that you love her. And she really wants that acknowledgement from you. And so that's basically what she said. And Reba was like, pump your brakes. This ain't none of your business. Like, that's none of your business. And so she said that very sternly. And Garcelle backpedaled and was kind of like, yeah, you're right. And, pretty much, I don't know the dynamics. I didn't grow up with y'all. I don't know. I'm just kind of coming for a friend of what I did. And then they had some other conversation, and it seemed like that was probably the most tense part of the conversation. After that, they kind of just talked about Garcelle losing her mother and that she didn't want Sutton to have any missed opportunities on getting things off her chest with her mom and things like that. So it ended up being an okay conversation, I guess, for them. They started cheersing and things like that. Ended up being fine. Honestly, I'm with Reba on this one. I think it was a gross overstep for Garcelle to do that. Like, you just met Reba. Why are you coming in and just inserting yourself? I was like, that's a little weird and it's a little much. And honestly, Sutton should have told her as soon as Garcelle said this, of, hey, I want to talk to her, instead of laughing and saying, oh, she's got to strangle you with this scarf. You should have shut it down, Sutton. You should have said, actually, no, like, let me talk to her. I appreciate it, but just stay out of it. Like, don't put your friend or allow your friend to put herself in the middle of that. Sutton has a habit, and Garcelle is always like caping for Sutton, like ever since that season where Erica like cussed Sutton out at Kathy's dinner and Garcelle didn't really say anything. I think people probably were commenting like no one stood up for her. And Sutton has said herself, like, no one at that table stood up for me, blah, blah, blah. And I think ever since then, Garcelle has had an S on her chest, like she's Superwoman and wants to like save Sutton all the time. And it's nice, but like I said in another video, it's never really reciprocated. I mean, Garcelle had her son cussed out, and at the reunion, Sutton said nothing. So there were lots of other there were lots of other times where people were kind of either coming at Garcelle or sliding in little microaggressions, or just other times where people were confronting Garcelle and it didn't really seem like warranted or, you know, or constructive. And Sutton kind of just sits there. And so I don't know, I'm over Garcelle like jumping in, and especially in a situation like this where it really isn't any of her business. I was like, girl, So I was actually Team Reba here. It's none of your business. Who are you? I don't even know you. I just met you yesterday. So why are you coming in here talking about, like, I wish somebody would. Like, I'm getting more mad thinking about that, because if someone who I just met yesterday came over and was like, you know, I just want to talk about like you and your son. Who are you? So yeah, I did not appreciate that. There were some people that were saying like, oh, I didn't like her tone. I didn't see a problem with it. I don't know. Maybe I need to watch it again. It was a stern tone. It was back up. It was like, you're coming to talk to this woman about her relationship with her daughter. So how should her tone be? How would your tone be if someone came and was like, well, actually, so I didn't see anything wrong with that tone. I think people were just ultra sensitive that it's like an older white woman from the South with a very thick accent and a dog named Dixie. Clock it. I clocked it. And, you know, probably does have racist or prejudice feelings or, you know, certain bias, you know, tendencies. Like, I'm not negating that, but I don't think in that particular conversation, I don't think she did anything like out of pocket. You know what I mean? Like, two things can be true. I'm not saying that this lady is like for the people. I'm saying, you know, she probably has some tendencies that would, you know, I would side eye. And she probably, and I think she was justified in being a little bit defensive and a little bit firm and saying back the hell up. So that's my opinion. Following that conversation with Reba, Garcelle had a confessional, and she said that she believes that Reba was hurt somewhere along the way in her life and has shut down and can't access her emotions. And then she kind of stops herself and was like, oh no, you know what, actually, it's probably because Sutton was so close to her dad and Reba was jealous of it. And I was like, maybe. I mean, I think both of those, or maybe either of those or both of those can be true. Again, I don't know. I know it's a confessional and I know you're supposed to say what you think, but it's like, okay, just stop. Because I don't think she would want anyone coming in and talking about like her relationship with her kids or like why I don't know. I was like, okay. It didn't go any further than that. So I was like, all right, we're fine. So they finally eat this brunch. I feel like this brunch has been talked about for half the damn episode. They finally sit down and they eat. And Sutton brings up that she wants to bring Kyle and Garcelle to her childhood home that's right down the street. And she wants to just show the ladies like just more of her background and where she grew up. Reba is not against it. Reba is not having it. She is like, no, I don't want to go. No, I don't want to report afterwards. I don't want any parts of it. And I don't blame her. I don't know. Like, I don't like her. Like, I don't think she's a nice person and she's not someone I would want to be around. But I also see some of her point of view. Like, that was the last time her husband was alive was in that house, and who knows what kind of relationship they even had before he killed himself. So it's like, why would she want to go back to that house? That seemed weird. But so as she's kind of just expressing like that she didn't want to go, Sutton has a confessional and basically said that she probably does have resentment towards her mom because her mom knew the mindset of her dad and knew he was having a lot of mental problems and a lot of struggles with depression, and on top of that had all these drugs in his system, and on top of that had a loaded gun in the house. And Sutton was like, yeah, I probably do hold some resentment about that, basically saying that Reba maybe not blaming that incident on Reba, but basically like, you didn't help it and you just made it too easy for him. So, I mean, I think this is a really hard episode to like talk about. I don't know. I get it. I think what she says is valid, but then you also have to think like, if someone wants to do that, they're gonna do it. So if it wasn't the way he did it, he probably would have found another way. So I don't think it's fair, but as the child in this situation, and maybe other things that she has witnessed, so it's kind of fine. So, I give her half a pass on that one, but just from an outsider point of view, it's not fair to pin that on Reba. Am I a Reba apologist? I'm becoming more of a Reba apologist than I thought I would. But I was like, you can't really pin that on her. But I also see, like, that it wasn't helpful. So I get it. So we finally get out of Augusta. We go back to Beverly Hills or Encino or wherever these hoes live. And Erica FaceTimes Dorit and is showing her this house once again. I'm over this storyline. We can keep moving. So then we see Bo sitting down with her daughter, Lael, and they basically talk about Keely, and Bose was saying that like Lael met Keely when Keely like popped up on them in Ghana. I was like, okay. I hope he paid for that trip. I hope Bose didn't spend any paper for that, because Keely is just... I did soften on Keely a little bit just because Lael seems like she has such a good head on her shoulders, and Lael approves. And I'm like, okay, well, if Lael approves, then maybe I do. But Lael seems really sweet. She's obviously so smart. She's gorgeous. So Bose did an amazing job with her. And I love the way that their relationship looks. Obviously, no one knows what happens behind closed doors, but on camera, it just seems that, in other snippets that we've seen, like on like Bose's like IG and things like that, like it seems like they have a really good relationship and really like easy and open, and I just loved that. So I wanted to point that out. But basically, Bose asked Lael like how would she feel if Bose were to have another child, and Lael was actually okay with it, and she was like, I feel like our relationship is evolving and someone else should experience you in that way and experience you as a mother. And I was like this girl is what, 15, and she's more mature than me. So like I said, Bose did a phenomenal job. Lael seems amazing. And then like she asked like afterwards that like to confirm that Lael was cool with Keely. Like you do know I want to have the baby with Keely, right? Like, you're cool with Keely. I was like, again, maybe Bose just does things backwards, but she does a lot of, we'll talk about it more later in this episode, but it seems that Bose likes to jump the gun and then kind of go back like, wait, I didn't check on, the earlier steps. But anyway, beautiful scene. Lael is cool with Keely, so I'm softening a little bit. Still watching you, Keely, but like I said, my girl Lael likes you, so I'm softening. The next scene, we see Sutton take the women to her childhood home, and it's really just a time for Sutton to really sit in it, and she talks about her memories and the last time she saw her dad and her relationship with her dad again, and just gives us a little bit more of a peek of what it was like to live there and be in her family and be with her dad and things like that, and what that final time was when she saw him alive. And she said afterwards that she felt like she had done years of therapy. And so, you know, if it was a good way for her to process her grief and just process the way things panned out, then I think that's great. The next scene, we see Bose, Erica, and Dorit go out to dinner. And I really like that trio. They're a really good trio together. I like seeing them on the screen. So they go in, and Bose actually shares kind of an update with her for once, because it's usually so Dorit and PK heavy, at least from what we've seen. So it was good that Bose kind of talked about herself first, and she shared that her and Kaylee have been discussing having a baby, and even touched on the fact that they are walking towards marriage, but they haven't even said I love you yet. And the girls were gagged. They were like, what? And I was just like, excuse me, girl, what? And so Dorit's like, well, maybe it's just a matter of saying, Kaylee, don't you think it's a little weird that we haven't? And Erica's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't listen to her. I was like, thank you. Like, Erica, what has gotten into Erica? I really liked her when she first came on, and then I didn't like her, and I'm like, I think maybe starting last year, I started like, am I liking her again? I think I'm liking her again. I still don't think her hands are completely clean with these widows and orphans, but she hasn't been charged yet. She's evading. She's, ducking so far, but like, am I liking this Eva again? I think I am, because she has just been so on point. So anyway, so she's like, nah, don't listen to Dorit. Like, he needs to say it first. Like, what do you mean? This is crazy, da-da-da. And like I said, in her confessional, she was saying what I was thinking, like, huh, what? Like, like, what are we doing? So basically, they kind of agree that he needs to say it first, and Bose is going to keep holding it in because she wants to say it, but she's going to just hold it in and wait for him to say it. And she, in her confessional, said, I'm going to pretty much like keep moving towards the things we want, and we'll continue to build up to say that word. And I'm like, if you like it, I love it. That's not for me, but hey, I'm gonna trust Bose. Seems like she knows how to make good decisions. She's done well for herself. So you like it, I love it. I think it's strange, but hey, go for it. Next, Dorit talks about that PK called her and acted like they were just good old friends and none of that craziness, and 7-page email never happened. And the women and Bose and Erica were giving her some good advice again. Like, no, he's trying to calm you down. He's trying to, essentially blindside you with serving papers. He's trying to get you in a good spot so you think it's all good, and then he's going to go scoop up all the good lawyers. He's going to serve you. So you got to stay focused, and you got to just stay on your A game, and don't let him kind of divert your focus, right? And so then Dorit said, I just want him to slow down. It doesn't do well for like us to be fighting with the kids. And they're like, no, you're not talking about the kids. You're doing this for yourself. You just want to catch your breath, and like, nah, this is the time to keep going hard. Like, this man's about to divorce you at any minute. So you need to be on your A game, right? And so they keep trying to tell her, Erica's in her confessional, like, I'm trying to tell her. Everyone's trying to tell her. Bose told her, girl, wake up. And because Dorit is still in La La Land. And I don't know. I don't know what kind of hold PK of all people has on you, but wake up, girl. So I hope she gets smart and, you know, is able to protect her and herself and the kids in this imminent divorce. Finally, the last bit of the show, they are back in Augusta, and the main thing is that Sutton is making dinner, and she's making these crab cakes, which, did anybody catch that weird story of my dad and I used to make crab cakes? My mom loved his recipe. He handed that recipe down to me, and my mom loved it so much that even like a day or two after his death, my mom made me cook the crab cakes for Christmas Eve supper. I was like, that is weird. That is strange, because I'm not cooking anything. Like, I'm not cooking if I'm too tired. So if my parent dies a horrific death, probably not cooking for a while. I'm probably not. So that's number one. Number two, you're gonna ask me to cook the thing that he used to always cook? So weird. That woman's diabolical. She's a little sick. Like, that's a little, like, it's a little twisted. But anyway, so Sutton's making these like famous crab cakes, and the main part of this last part of the episode is that Sutton has like the final sit down with her mom. So before that, she's showing her parts of her clothes collection, and her mom's just saying these like weird little, they're not jabs, but they're not compliments, and they're just like these weird like observations and connections to other weird things. And I can't stand people that do that. There was someone in my family when I first got engaged. I was like, oh my God, and you're showing the ring. And this person who I thought I was very close to was like, oh, I'm gonna make up a name, Marissa has the same ring, or Marissa has a similar ring. And I'm like, what? Like, who's, like, you're a hater, dude. Like, because when someone can't just congratulate you, they have some issues with you or issues within themselves. Because if you can't say to someone who you love, oh my God, congratulations, I'm so happy, tell me about it. And it's these like weird, I can't. So, anyway, so they like talk about the collection. She's saying these weird things, and Sutton's just like, all right. So you can tell she's like trying to brace herself and ready to say what she had to say. So she basically said, you know, I was talking to my brother, and I let him know, it seems like you don't really understand what I do, or if you're even proud of me. And Reba was like, well, why would you say that? And she said, because you never say it. And Reba was like, well, I just think it's really trite. I think it's meaningless if you say it all the time. And Sutton was like, no, you can't say it enough to your kids. You know, it's not something, sure, it's not something you say to any old person on the street, but you should always tell your kids that you love them and you like them and you're happy for them and support them and you're proud of them. Like, that's normal. I don't know what that generation and maybe the one after that, I don't know what they have gone through. I know everyone has a story and a testimony and a kind of a culture of what they grew up in. I get it. But just being a good parent seems really instinctual and normal. I don't know. All I do know is that I am trying to not be like Reba, and I make it a point to tell my kid every day that I like them, I love them. No matter what, I'm always here for you. I'm always going to trust and support you. I always vocalize that, because that's going to be their inner monologue as they get older. And I just want them to know, if you have no one else in this world, you have me, and I'm here, and like, I got you. And it sucks that there are so many parents out there who think that's like too much. And it's like, why did you have kids? I don't know, whatever. That's a whole other video. But like, so basically, it's just like it seems like it's just a different way of communicating and way that they grew up. And Reba just kind of explains, hey, I was raised with not needing to hear that or say it, and no one told me I was pretty, and I just went on about my life. I don't want to say coddle, but no one was like really soft towards her. And so because she never had that, she didn't really give it to her kids. But it sounds like Sutton never really had that. Maybe she got it from her dad though. But Sutton was able to be more present and more soft and kind and expressive to her kids. So it's good that we are witnessing generational curses being broken on Beverly Hills. But they basically kind of have a good heart-to-heart and end up hugging. And Reba said, we can do better. Sutton invites her to her fashion show and was like, it would really mean a lot to me if you came. And Reba's like, oh, I could do that. And so it seems like they were able to see each other and meet each other in a way that they haven't been able to in a very long time, which was great. So they were able to hug it out. Even at the end where they're having dinner, Reba said something about like Sutton being her daughter and her friend, and it was sweet. And so I guess Reba's just doing her best. And I guess that's what any of us are doing. I don't think that's just always an excuse of making others feel bad. So, you know, I get it, but let me know your thoughts. That was really it. Those were the main kind of hot points of the episode. What'd you feel about this episode? Was it a filler episode? Did you like it? Are you kind of over the Augusta trip? It sounds like they're leaving, so we should be done with that. But I want to hear your thoughts and what you are predicting for the rest of this season and what you want to see. So comment below. Please like the video, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for rocking with me.